Hey there, it's Robert at the Sampleist, and today we'll be checking out Classic Reverbs II by Samplicity. Classic Reverbs II is a behemoth of a reverb plugin featuring now 340 presets from some of the best known reverbs in the industry, including the Bricasti M7, Lexicon's 480L and 960L, and the TCE System 6000. The algorithms packed in this reverb really capture the essence of the hardware replicates, while adding various creative modulation tools with an easy-to-use UI. At the time of this recording, Classic Reverbs II is on an intro price of €109 and requires an iLok account with the iLok License Manager installed. You can also try the 14-day demo to see how awesome this reverb is. In this video, we'll be going through some of the presets of Classic Reverbs II, do an overview of the plugin, and a composition where we'll hear what I consider my favorite reverb in context. I can't wait to go through all this with you, so let's get after it. A big thank you, by the way, to Samplicity for letting us check out this reverb at no charge. Even so, they are in no way influencing my thoughts and opinions on this video. With that out of the way, let's go. Okay, so here we are with the same type of setup I had when I did the Berlin Studio reverb, and I thought, why not just keep it steady here? This is going to be a pretty quick walkthrough here of some of all these. I also have, for most of them, two different selections here, and I'll just breeze through them, and you can hear how they sound. There are a lot of nice choices here, so let's get right to it. So first we have the flute. Very nice. And for this, I have one of my favorites here, the large warm hall, part of the System 6000. And now for something completely different, the Studio 40 by 40 foot room. Something you'll notice is that I put the wet meter much higher than I think I did for the large warm hall. And you'll see different settings here because I want to try to get as much of the instrument in the room. Having it in the room like that will at least give me a good chance to see how it works when I really want to get it wet in the reverb. Like, to give you an example, I will play this again, but with this all the way at 100. Sounds really nice. It sounds like it's in a nice room, but yet not with a lot of reverberation. It's really good. Next, chamber. Sounds pretty good. Let's raise it for at least the last few notes. It sounds really cool, but just to give you a contrast, let's hear how it sounds with it off. So you'll hear, I cut off the reverb there just to get to the point I'm trying to make. You'll hear that when the instruments are off, it sounds really dry and close up. These reverbs are working. Even if the length and all that isn't that long, it is working, and it's working very well. I rose the amount of wet signal here, so that way it was really nice in that chamber. The next one is from the 480. It's the large church. Now that's just a really lush reverb, a lush space. I feel like I could hear a lot more of the upper harmonics, which is cool. Next, we have the horn solo. I'll just play it dry for a little bit. So it just sounds really dry. Sounds good, it's just really dry. Now let's put it in the A plate. It sounds pretty good. If you want something that isn't so long, but yet it sounds like it's in its space, this is a good spot. Next, let's check out the short horns. We have the concert piano from the System 6000. That's a nice reverb there. Crank it up. Let's do it dry for comparison. That is bone dry. So you really hear how this reverb is working. Then we're back to my favorite, and you'll notice I have less reverb here. So let's put it up more. So if you want more of the bite from something that's shorter and has more of a harder transient, crank it towards the left. Or if you have it as a send all the way to a full wet reverb on a bus, just have less of a send signal. Next we have the violin legato. So I'll just play this dry. In like some type of dry practice room or something. Next, with that, we'll add the small room, and I have it fully equal here. Now let's hear it up an octave, but I'll have it cranked up more. Something you could try to do is add some more to it. For some reason, this gives me a feeling of something, some old school film score, strings, maybe a lighter string ensemble. Something Bernard Herrmann-y, like just in this small room. It sounds like in a smaller room, somewhat thinner, but yet still tense, still eerie. Really cool. Next one is the Mechanics Hall, and I love the Mechanics Hall. This is my second favorite out of all of them here. Let me just do one more time. You can hear the full reverb, sorry. It's just beautiful. If you hear it just stop, it's more me of just like ending it and just eager to talk about this. This is such a great reverb. my goodness, especially some of these, like some of the plates are really good. Some of the halls are amazing. Some percussion, the large hall. And I just cut it off abruptly. You could still hear it really going. Sometimes I like to do that just to see what happens when you stop a sample, but I'll finish it off now. Now, last but not least, the timpani. It's just beautiful. This is a sublime reverb. So many types of reverbs here to choose from. Honestly, like this is to me the perfect all-round reverb in terms of greatest hits from things like the Bricasti, the Lexicons, and then the 6000. Come on now. You have access to 4 great reverbs and various setups from each reverb. It's beautiful. It's sublime. Next, let's check out the UI. All right, so now that we have checked out various presets from classic reverbs, let's just have a quick look at the UI. So first we have the gain knob for the input. You can add your pre-delay right here. Most of the time I keep it off, though having a little bit isn't so bad. I think if you have shorts, then the pre-delay could be more of an issue if you get too high. So keep that in mind. You have your undo and your redo, which I like to have. You have your AAB. You can go back and forth. I probably could have done that over here instead of doing this. But for some reason, I like to have 2 instances side by side and looking at it and just making adjustments just like that right away. I don't know why, but I might start doing this more. And then you can copy one to the other by the looks of it. Then we have our preset selector right here. And there are a lot. And I mean a lot to choose from with each selection. You have the 4 reverbs here, and each, like I said, has a lot to choose from, different selections for each type of room or chamber and whatnot. Very nice. You have your decay here, and it tells you the length and everything right here. You have the early tail, which I'm guessing is more like the early reflections. And as you can see, more early reflections, more of a focus by the looks of it, and then more focus on the tail. And we have the dry wet knob here for the mix. Of course, you can go very dry or very wet, or there's somewhere in between. If you're doing a send, I probably do all the way to the wet. As you'll see in the composition, I didn't go all the way to the right for wet only. I did 71%, I think, or something like that, because I didn't want to go too far with it. I like having a bit less on percussion. Then we have our modulation here, which is really cool. It's really interesting. You have the spin here, which can really have some cool things going on. The reverb and the wander over here too. But here's another cool thing: the depth. So if you have instrument family and whatnot, and you want to really change the depth within, I guess, the stereo field, we can bring it up. So let's have a listen. Let's crank it up. It really sounds further back in the room, and I really think that's a cool feature to have within the reverb. So that way if you don't have the pre-fader type deal that you'll see in the composition walkthrough, if you want the depth and you have the reverb going directly in the track, just crank that up. For me, that's great because then I don't have to use a plugin like Sonox's Transmod or you don't even have to worry so much about mic positions and whatnot, especially if you don't have many options for mic positions. This is a versatile tool to have. Let's crank up the spin and wander now. So you do kind of hear that good spinning. The wander, though. I mean, I could see really cool creative tools for both, especially for the spin if you want to really have a sound that sounds like it's really moving around. I wish I had something like that when I was working on some sound effects for a trailer campaign. That was for like some custom stuff. I had to do a spinning type of sound. That this would have been a great thing to have. Wander can be really cool creatively as well. I like that. So then we have our EQ here. A lot of times you'll see me just doing that. Get rid of a lot of the lows for the reverb. I don't like having too many low frequencies going through the reverb. You can adjust that as you would like. And then you can adjust the stereo width of the output and the gain of the output. And last but not least, you can save a preset and also just reset the plugin state. I think that's it, other than our simple bypass type switch right there. And that just about does it. Like, it's so easy to use. And I have the level meters here. It's very user friendly. What you see is what you get. Having things like the spin and wander for me are great tools to have, and the depth makes this reverb go on another level compared to most reverbs that I've used, which isn't a ton, I'll admit. I really like how easy this is. So next, we'll go to the composition. I hope you like it. All right, so I really hope you like the track. This was used for Sonic Cinema's Brass Swells Pro, which is an awesome library. I did a video for that. So this one is a pretty easy one. I honestly have the same reverb running through all of it because I really love how it sounds. At some point, what I might do is put this fully in this template and see how it sounds with the mechanics hall, because that's my second favorite reverb for this whole plugin. And that is located in the Bricasti M7. But yeah, that is such a good reverb as well. The Lexicons also have some good reverbs, but for some reason, this has been my go-to for a long time. I just love how everything sounds on this. What I could do also is put synths and percussion through the mechanics hall, and maybe instruments that might have more of that transient, but yet still want that nice lush reverb sound. So yeah, I'll just play through some of the families here, and you can hear how it sounds. The one thing I will point out is that the percussion reverb, I lowered the amount of wetness, even though it's in Ascend. And why did I do that? I wanted to have some more control about the reverb signal here, because percussion, if you give it too much, you might not get the sound you want. So let's go through some of the families. I love how when I just stop it, you really hear that beautiful tail. It's gorgeous. And you'll see I have my old reverb that I would use, which is the Space Designer. And I had an impulse response that was really sweet on it. Let's hear how it sounds with the percussion. So sometimes you want the percussion to be in your face and more dry, but there are times I think that it's good to have the percussion further back. You still have some of the transient, but not have it be as in your face, be still somewhat prominent. And I think this reverb gets that job done. I also do this nice trick here where I have the send, I have everything going over here for at least the low percussion. And the way I have it set up is I have it pre-fader for the send. So that way all I have to do is adjust this fader, and it gives it more of this feeling of depth. It'll affect the transient a little bit, make it sound further back. And I think that's such a cool trick to have when working on these orchestral mock-ups and whatnot. It's that way you have more of that 3D type of feel. Lastly, let's take a listen to the strings. You get that transient, but you still get that nice room reverb. I have it pushed back quite a bit for depth, as you can see right here. Though the shorts are put a little further up in the mix on purpose. Now let's check out some of these. So you hear that it sounds a little sloppy, but yet it works. But yeah, the strings sound fantastic here. Everything I have going through here is dry. It's a mix of modern scoring strings and Sound Iron's Hyperion Strings Ensemble, which is an awesome library as well. Did a video on that. But yeah, that's it for the track and everything, how I'm using classic reverbs in here. I was thinking Berlin Studio would be in the template, but the more I think about it, maybe it'll be classic reverbs that takes over my template, or a mix of both. Hope you like the track. Final thoughts on classic reverbs is that it's an amazing plugin. An amazing reverb, doesn't take too much CPU, doesn't require that much practice in getting it right and getting a good sound. There's really cool creative tools in there. To me, this is like one of the best all-around reverbs you can get. Berlin Studio, which I did a video for, is more specific in terms of the type of room you're getting. And it makes it very versatile that you can use orchestral tools with other libraries, more specifically ones that have a drier signal. This one, classic reverb, you can use so many different things here. You can use it to make sound effects and other things too. It's amazing. So yeah, that's it. I hope you like this video. I hope you like the music for it and everything. Please like and subscribe to the Sampleist because we work really hard on these videos and we really hope you enjoy them. And please comment below what you think of the video, the plugin, how you use it and whatnot. So yeah, that's it. Happy writing.